What is going down, squad? We are back for another State of the Franchise episode. I'm Brad Graham, and that, of course, is the spicy Jason Aponte. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, everything that occurred in the Seattle Seahawks game, which was a lot, but ultimately the San Francisco 49ers did come away with a W. But we're also going to take a look forward to the primetime matchup against the Denver Broncos. So we're going to get into all things San Francisco 49ers. You already know it's the state of the franchise. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, Jason, it is now officially week 3. The San Francisco 49ers are 1-1. Let's do big picture before we deep dive into the specific items. Just the win against the Seattle Seahawks. What was your takeaways, overall thoughts of the game?
Seattle's cooked, and Russell Wilson ain't walking through that door. It's a new day. Pete Carroll, get owned, get work. DK Metcalf. I got a lot of things to say about Seattle. It's a new day. Y'all not the boogeyman. Y'all not like that.
Nope.
And now it's our town now. So you know what? It does feel a little bit, I guess, scaled back because you would have loved to have done it to Russell Wilson. But you know what, Seattle? Y'all, it's a new day. Y'all, you Seattle fans, the 12s. Y'all gotta deal with us now, and that's it. Until you figure it out, y'all gotta deal with us, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think that was kind of lost with all the craziness.
Yeah, someone's got to check on those 12s. I don't know if they're going to be sticking around too long if Geno Smith's going to be out there doing what he did against that San Francisco 49ers defense that was all over them, pitched a shutout. Things that you absolutely love to see. And again, it was a good day in the sense of the San Francisco 49ers just dominating the Seattle Seahawks because, hey, we've been fans of the 49ers for a while now. So we know what it is. So that was the positive, but of course, maybe that's a perfect opportunity to transition into one of the biggest negatives of the game, and then we'll kind of get back to the other silver linings that came out of the game. But of course, the number one topic this week has been Trey Lance. Trey Lance officially goes on injured reserve today. Kyle Shanahan spoke to the media today and also let us know that there's no chance of Trey Lance returning this season, even though it was kind of reported in an earlier article, I think from the SF Chronicle, that he could be back for the playoffs. But Kyle Shanahan quickly said he's not coming back this year. So just walk me through the initial feelings that you had and how you kind of processed it since then when Trey Lance went down with the season-ending ankle injury.
Many emotions. You feel sick for the kid. You start to think about what's behind that, and that's the development of him and how this works for the 49ers. And then you start to see, unfortunately, a very small portion of 49er fans or national media that are lapping up Trey Lance's injury to prop up their priors. And that initially on my post-game reaction show, that's what kind of sent me over the edge because I was already upset at that point, but I had seen people, even in the YouTube comments, people on Twitter who, I saw somebody on Twitter say something disgusting to the effect of, I prayed that this would happen so Jimmy would start. So it kind of got the best of me. My emotions ran hot and I kind of let it fly. And a lot of people assumed I was just...
We got Spicy Aponte on the post game.
Oh man, yeah, like it was immediate. Like literally, I left the game, the get playback, and I went right in. But it was more directed to the people that were being disgusting with the way that they were reacting to the injury. Look, if you wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to start, that's not a crime. If you wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to start at the expense of Trey Lance being injured, that's a crime. That's disgusting. You are a disgusting human being. But that's not everybody. And I shouldn't have let myself get to that point, right? Like I should have drawn myself back, but I had seen too much of it. Even in my YouTube comments, there were people, oh, season saved. Like the insensitivity. If I go at Colin Cowherd about it, I'm gonna go at my own fan base that continues to say these stupid things, right? So for me, it was that initially. And then you start to really think about it, and you really start to think, man, the 49ers are very lucky that they have somebody who can step in this way. And I know, guys, Jimmy Garoppolo, we know what this offense looks like. A lot of people say that all the time. But in the way that I'm looking at it, when your starting quarterback goes down, the backup quarterback usually starts, and you have no semblance of what you think this is going to be. The 49ers have a guy who slides right in, literally called it like riding a bike, and now you have a semblance of what this offense is going to look like because you've got a large track record of it. So in that way, when you start to think about it, it's unfortunate what happened to Trey Lance. I hate that it happened to him. I hate that he lost another year of development. I hate that there are people that are lapping it up. But on the other side, the season is not lost. And it would be lost if it was Nate Sudfeld still here or if Brock Purdy had to start. The season would be lost. So now the only positive that I can draw from this is Jimmy Garoppolo's here. There's nobody that the 49ers fan base is going to be clamoring to see. Nobody is going to start yelling, bench Jimmy Garoppolo for Brock Purdy. I promise you that. I promise. Or Kent Burkhardt or whatever his name is.
I wouldn't put it past this fan base. Continue.
I highly doubt it, and I would also question your judgment also. But now Jimmy Garoppolo gets to play free, easy, everything, right? There's no guy behind him. There's no Trey Lance behind him. There's going to be no discussion about that, right? So look, for all the people that told me, well, you're wasting a Super Bowl roster while you're going through the development of Trey Lance. Well, guess what? That's off the table. So if this is a Super Bowl roster, let's make it happen. Now it's time to rally and just go. Like, that's it. No more discussion about what Jimmy Garoppolo is, what he isn't. That's it. It's done. You're spinning your wheels right now if you continue to slam Jimmy Garoppolo when he is the best option for this team right now. And there are 31 other teams that would kill to have a backup quarterback of his caliber because he's a starting quarterback. That's my little rant on it.
Well, 100%. And I think we even came on State of the Franchise right after Jimmy Garoppolo returned. And you made a ton of great points about like how this is such a beneficial situation for the 49ers to bring back Jimmy Garoppolo in the sense that if anything happens to Trey Lance, you don't skip a beat at all with the backup quarterback. And there's really not many, if any, instances where you can see that on any other team in the NFL, like where you go to the backup and you're almost right at that same level. You might lose a little bit more with, the pushing the ball downfield and the running element, but you get a guy who can come in and execute the offense, say what you want, at a high level. Again, Kyle Juszczyk talked about it. They were like, hey, man, we've been here before with Jimmy Garoppolo. This feels like home. Like, we've done this for 5 years. Like, this is comfortable, like, to us. Whereas, we're learning with Trey, we're growing with Trey, we're implementing new things with Trey, the zone read. It's a different element opposed to running out of I formation, a lot more out of shotgun. It's just a different element, small nuances that other fans might not pay attention to, but the players feel it. They know what it is. So obviously, absolutely terrible that Trey Lance goes down for the year, because now this is going to be 3 seasons that Trey Lance doesn't get extended playing time. That is one of the things that I think is not only, of course, for Trey, absolutely terrible for this to happen to him personally, but for the team and for the development of Trey and everything like that. That just hurts the most. It's like, man, it's going to be since 2019. You remember 2019, Jason? The San Francisco 49ers had Jimmy Garoppolo coming off a season-ending injury and made it this close to winning a Super Bowl. That was the last time Trey Lance had a full season. That's one of the toughest things, outside of the personal things that we feel for Trey. When we look at it from a high-level perspective, it's just tough that we're not going to see Trey for a while.
Yeah, and I think that the other part of this, the other side of it for Trey Lance is all of the questions that came into this offseason will now be exactly the same questions that you have going into the next season because of the year of development, right? Like, literally all of the things that people pointed to about Trey Lance, they will be able to point to again. And it's not his fault. He's injured. That's something completely different, but it's still unknown. And now we are going into year 3 of his rookie contract, and we still don't know, right? Like, and I think someone sent me one of those anonymous questions yesterday on on Instagram, and he said, "Is the Trey area era dead?" And I said, "It's not dead. It's just pushed back, which might be a little bit more detrimental." And what I mean by that is, I'd rather find out pretty quickly, or as quickly as I can, what Trey is going to be. And again, we have all the confidence in the world in Trey, but that doesn't mean that that's how things shake out. That doesn't mean that anybody knows what he's going to be. But now we go into another offseason, into another training camp next year with the same questions. The national media heads are going to be able to say the same exact thing, regurgitate the same narratives over and over about his inexperience. He's not developed here. He's not developed there. And it's not his fault. But this is where we are, unfortunately, going into year 3 of the rookie contract. And that is the part that is most worrisome, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we don't have to look too far into the future, but it will be something that, of course, is going to be discussed. How he bounces back and all those things, but again, this season we understand what it is. It's going to be led by Jimmy Garoppolo, so I think we already saw pretty quickly in that Seattle game, the offense is going to look just like we've seen in the past, right? It's going to be a lot of the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, I
Nope.
guess, because the 49ers went to the NFC Championship, could have went to the Super Bowl last year with that. So there's still some confidence, right, with Jimmy Garoppolo taking over for Trey Lance, right?
For sure. I mean, for sure. Look, again, how many teams can say we're going to turn to a guy who has won X amount of games, who is familiar with the system, who many people have already speculated and said makes this team more dangerous? And it's hard to argue that they're probably,
Right
let's
after the
say,
game
right.
in the locker room.
Yeah, right. Well, whatever. With that, look, man, I'm done ranting on these national media people, man. If you guys didn't listen, I went crazy on Colin Cowherd on O'Hay there, man. Like, I let it fly. But
But you're speaking facts, though.
yeah, but how many teams have that luxury, right? Like, if Patrick Mahomes goes down, the Chiefs season's over. If Aaron Rodgers goes down, the Packers season's over, right? Trey Lance goes down, and Jimmy Garoppolo luckily fell into their lap, and now you get to look at everybody and say, this is a team that can still be as dangerous as they were. And when you look around the NFC, I know it's week 2, very early. When you look around the NFC, oh, sure, the Philadelphia Eagles are world beaters now, right? Like, they're just going to run through everybody. Everybody else is just looking like whatever at this point. The Rams nearly lost to the Falcons again, got embarrassed in week 1. The Cardinals needed the Oakland Raiders because, whatever, the Las Vegas Raiders, Oakland Raiders, doesn't matter. They stink. Completely
It's the Raiders,
choke.
no one cares.
Yeah, whatever. Completely choke to even get them to 1-1. Everybody else in the NFC looks ripe for the picking. And here come the 49ers with the number 1 defense, with Jimmy Garoppolo, who can pilot this offense, with Jimmy Ward not playing a game, with Jimmy Garoppolo coming off the bench and not
No
taking
Elijah
any
Mitchell.
reps. No Elijah Mitchell. None of these things.
No Kittle.
Here it is. Here it is right in front of you, 49ers. Like, this is the thing. No matter what you thought about early on in this quarterback situation, let's look at the situation now. And the situation now has the 49ers in the driver's seat for the NFC. They should win this division based on the things that we've seen in week 2 already. One more thing that I wanted to point out is everybody is – all right, so Vegas had the 49ers as underdogs going into this Denver game. Trey Lance goes down. Jimmy Garoppolo's a starter. Guess who's the favorite? The 49ers.
No way.
Yes, they completely flipped. It went from underdog to 1.5 now. The 49ers are favorites in Denver. That is the type of stuff that no team has the luxury of. If your starting quarterback goes down for the year, your season's over. Not for the 49ers. It's just how it is right now. So whether you agreed with bringing Jimmy Garoppolo back, whether you agree with whatever they're going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo, you have to at least look straight down the mirror and look yourself in the mirror and say, this team is ready to compete. And who can say that? 31 other teams can't say that. The 49ers were the only team. When you purchase flood insurance, you don't expect there to be a flood. When you purchase car insurance, you don't expect to crash your car. But that's why you have insurance. And that's why the 49ers are going where they're going.
And the 49ers paid a premium for that insurance, and it is going to pay off early for them, as you've kind of laid it out. That's crazy that the sports books are already flipping in favor of the San Francisco 49ers with the starter going down and the backup being inserted. But we also understand Jimmy is a starter in this league. Might not be your favorite starter, might not be your Patrick Mahomes or your Herberts and, those guys, but he's still capable, and we're going to see what he can get done. Money Mark 71, appreciate the super chat, my boy. He says, anybody rooting for Trey to get hurt is no Niner fan. I'm a Jimmy guy, hands down, but a Niner fan first. Thank God we had Jimmy as a backup. Salute the SDS. Appreciate the super chat, Mark. What is your just kind of quick take on? I know you talked about it a little bit, and you apparently ranted on it a lot on the post game, but just kind of these narratives, the fire Kyle Shanahan narratives, the Jimmy versus Trey. I've seen people like victory lapping Trey Lance's injury.
That's
Well, what's
terrible.
just like, what's your overall thought on those things?
It's okay to say that you were rooting for Trey, and also okay for you to say that you feel lucky that Jimmy Garoppolo's here. Like, I don't see why it has to be one or the other. And also, man, look, with the Kyle Shanahan thing, you guys are gonna look at me and say, well, he's just an apologist. He's only Shans, all that. It's football. Unfortunately, guys get injured. This is what happens, unfortunately. Yep. And you can say what you want about, taking hits, things like that. It wasn't QB power. Let's knock that off. It's counter bash, which is something that literally almost everybody with a running quarterback runs. He had an option to hand it off. He didn't. I think he made the right read. It's one of those things that is a little bit more of a freak accident at this point. And that's it. Like, I want to say this, and whatever Kyle thinks doesn't necessarily have to line up with what you think, but here's what Kyle was thinking when it came to what he was doing with Trey Lance. He felt the best way to maximize this offense and to extend drives, especially early on in the Seattle game and, in other games, was to use his legs. And you know how I know that, everybody said, well, look, they brought in Jimmy and the script changed. Okay, did it? It didn't. Here's why. Look at the first drive that Jimmy Garoppolo took over. He's in pistol. Is he in pistol because that's what Jimmy runs? No. He's in pistol because that was the script for Trey Lance. So that drive where you saw all those passes, Kyle wanted to bludgeon them with the run early on and then get right to the passing because he knew what was going to happen. We would hit them with the run. This is what they're going to do. They're going to move up and we're going to get these opportunities. And guess what? The Seahawks, even with Jimmy Garoppolo in there, did that. They moved up and then they lost Ross Dwelly, and guess what happened? Touchdown. Like, that's why when people say things about like, well, the script changed, watch the game again. It's hard when you watch it the first time, right? Because you got all these emotions running through you. You really can't see things. Things are moving at a breakneck speed. You're listening to the guys speak. You're listening to them. You're moving from one, frame to the other. But Kyle said it. This was the script. And when you listen to Jimmy talk, Jimmy said it was some new, some old that he had to run. What was new? Running pistol. You run pistol with Trey Lance. You don't run pistol with Jimmy Garoppolo. So for me, all of this stuff just it's ill-timed, all of that stuff. Like, I don't know how you can necessarily blame a coach. Injuries happen. And again, everybody's going to kill me, whatever. You're a Kyle apologist, whatever it is. Cool. That's fine. I understand your opinion and I respect it. But at the same time, man, like, if he believed that this was the best way for it to do, because let's just also put another fact out there that people don't want to like. At this point in Trey Lance's development, Jimmy Garoppolo's the better passer. That doesn't make Jimmy Garoppolo an elite passer. It just means he's a better passer than Trey Lance at this point. Doesn't mean that this is where he'll be better than Trey Lance at his highest level. But at this point, he's better as a passer. So when you look at things like that, when you factor in all those things, it's hard for me to put blame on the coach who is trying to do this tightrope act, which was a dangerous game to play with. I will give you that. It was a dangerous game to do. This tightrope act of developing and winning, right? He had to develop and he had to win. It wasn't just gonna be throw Trey Lance out there and let them go 5-11 or anything, or 5-12. That probably wouldn't have flown, and that's not what Kyle was trying to do. But this was a dangerous game in terms of trying to let him develop on the fly while trying to maximize the Super Bowl roster, and that's probably my biggest complaint.
Yeah, no, you're saying a lot of everything that you're saying. I think is spot on. It's just a really tough situation, and I think we need to normalize not firing our head coach. It's weird how that's become the normal thing. Like, any sign of issue, again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I loved seeing Trey Lance run up the middle on certain situations. It was something that I've been nervous about. But I also don't put that on Kyle. Like, you can look at the play and the way it broke down. it was a timing issue for both the offensive lineman and Trey Lance. It looks like, Mike McGlinchey has an insane pancake down the line, and it affects the timing of both Banks and Trent. And then you also, it's essentially a counter Trey, and then you're going to get Trey kind of rush the counter step. So it's a perfect storm. And it's like, to put that on a coach, like, he's just running his offense with the pieces that he has, that he knows how they work. And I think we understand with Trey Lance, he's still developing as a passer. Those are the things that we need to continue to work on with him. So the other element that he brings to the table is his ability to run. And I don't think we look at Trey Lance and we see a guy that's going to run east-west. He's a downhill runner. He's going to run straight. So I understand everything because I think a couple plays before, they ran I think it was a draw play or something, but they did a phenomenal job of motioning out. I think it was Debo or someone. They cleared out the middle of the field. You had beautiful running lanes for Trey Lance. He's able to maneuver and get down. But again, we understand that's just part of that comes with the territory. You're going to run in between the tackles. Things can happen. And it's just more of an unfortunate bad luck situation than a coach putting his player in the way it's being characterized, I think, is incorrect. You can have, I believe it's okay to be concerned or cautious about the way that he's running up the middle, but I don't think that also means that that's on coach 100% and he went out of his way to do this. I think that's an incorrect statement.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see what's wrong with saying any of that. Like, it's just, at this point, again, it is what it is. It happened. But for the Fire Kyle crowd, here's the question that I would pose to you. Replace him with who?
Yeah. They never have a solution. They just have, the solution is firing him. Who we bringing in? Oh, Sean Payton?
Sean Payton's coming? No, Sean Payton is going to be coaching the Dallas Cowboys next year. Make sure you bookmark this and you take this video and you post this. Sean Payton is doing the announcing thing, and he's waiting for Mike McCarthy to get fired, and Jerry Jones is going to throw him the bag, and he will be a Dallas Cowboys coach. Aside from that, explain to me who exactly so it's almost like many 49er fans just want to go back to Tom Sula, Chip Kelly, whoever. Sean Payton's not going to be the 49ers coach. Bookmark this, take this video down, screenshot it, put it on the big screen, because when Mike McCarthy gets fired, Mike McCarthy is going to be gone, and Sean Payton will be the Dallas Cowboys coach. This is exactly what he's been waiting for this entire time. That's exactly what they wanted to do. He's a Bill Parcells protege. It is too easy. It's a glove and hand fit. Sean Payton's not coming, so stop. Will you guys stop? Just use your brain a little bit. That's it. Use your brain a little bit. And D'Amico will be a head coach for someone else. He will be a head coach for someone else next year. He's leaving. That is it. So replace Kyle with who? And if you don't have a good answer, stop saying fire Kyle. Stop it right now.
Right. Because the main aspect is this team is fully invested into Trey Lance. That means whoever is coming in has to be fully invested into Trey Lance. It just doesn't make sense. Like, we understand how it is. You bring in a new regime, you bring in if you're firing Kyle, you're potentially cleaning out your whole front office as well, because they're tied. So that means the new guys you're bringing in have to be tied to Trey Lance. That's just not how it works. That's not how these guys operate. That you see how quickly you could get a new regime in and they just move on from an OBJ at the height of his career because Gettleman takes over. Like, he didn't draft OBJ, so he traded him just as quickly as he got in. There's nothing that ties these guys, and that's the biggest thing is Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they're tied to Trey Lance, and who else is going to come in and take that heat? You've already seen how much noise it gets in the media. That means your new coach is going to have to step into that scenario, and is it who you're going to get? Who's going to do that? I don't see a whole lot of good options.
Brad, can we tell Jets gang that he has a quarterback controversy on his hands? Joe Flacco better than Zach Wilson. Please stay out of the 49ers. Please stay out of the 49ers business. Get lost, bro. Please get lost. Oh my goodness.
I must have him muted because he's probably on yours. I think he might be blocked on ours.
Oh my goodness, man. Go get lost. Go watch the Jets streams, bro. You just beat the Browns and you're over here talking nonsense, bro. Joe Flacco about to take Zach Wilson's job and you over here talking about the 49ers. Get lost. Oh my God, man. God.
Cook his ass, man. Cook his ass.
I'm
Invading
tired of cooking
robots.
him. I'm tired of fading his ass, bro. Like, why
Hey,
are you here?
I think we're tired too because I think he's blocked on my stream. Again, we're
Oh
running the
my
dual stream.
goodness, man.
We're
Oh
running
my
the dual
God.
stream.
Bro's
So
in here.
I don't see him
Bro's in
anywhere.
here. Bro's in here putting his 49ers, his nose in
there.
49ers business. And Joe Flacco is out here winning more games than Zach Wilson, bro. Get lost, bro. Start the elite quarterback. You got a quarterback controversy of your own, bro. Zach ain't ready, man. I seen the tape, bro. He ain't ready. Get out of here.
That's hilarious.
God.
Invading Robot said, I am gutted for Trey Lance, all the work that he put in to get here where he is. We had so many reasons to be optimistic about this season and how it would go. I guess it's the Jimmy G show. Now let's see what we can do.
That's
And
it. And
there's still hope.
That's it. That's it, really. Look, guys, you can have your thoughts about Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is who he is at this point. That's it, man. Like, I don't know why you guys want to keep rehashing the issue and talking about it and discussing him. Last year, at least, if you had an argument against Jimmy Garoppolo, there was Trey Lance for you to turn to. God help us if you guys want to turn to Brock Purdy. I promise you, man, that is not what you want. So what you need to do right now is take your personal biases and your problems and your feelings and put them away and get behind Jimmy Garoppolo and pray he stays healthy. That's it. If he's healthy the rest of the way, the 49ers are going to be fine. They're too well coached. They have too good of a roster right now for them to not be fine. And Jimmy is good enough to lead them to wins and get them into the playoffs. Whatever happens in the playoffs, I don't care. Make that argument. That's your business. But the goal for every single team is to make the playoffs. Put all that away. Why are we discussing what Jimmy is and what Jimmy isn't? I thought we had this conversation last year. I think we all know.
Yeah, we know what it is. Like we don't even have to talk about it. And I think that's part of the calm that comes along with getting Jimmy back. So we know what he is. We know exactly what to expect, and what to expect is at least bare minimum winning caliber football. Might not be the prettiest, might not be the most stress-free watch on a Sunday, but we understand this team loves Jimmy. They're rally behind Jimmy. They value his leadership, and they're clearly happy to move forward with him as a quarterback.
One more thing, and I see brand new. That's the problem. That's not the goal. The goal is to win. Okay. Then why do 31 teams go home without a Super Bowl? Why is it that one team usually goes home with the Super Bowl? Why is it that the best coach, the best quarterback, the best roster rarely wins the Super Bowl? Why does everybody act like it's just, oh, well, the goal is to win a Super Bowl, just win the Super Bowl? Yeah, it's super easy to do that, man. It's real easy, man. Everything just lines up. People forget the variables that go into winning the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, they made 2 Super Bowls. They won one. They lost the other. Why? Their offensive line got hurt. There's so many variables. I'm tired of people just saying, well, the goal is to win a Super Bowl. Sure, the goal is to win a Super Bowl, but there's 31 teams that go home disappointed every single year that they didn't win a Super Bowl.
Josh Allen didn't win a Super Bowl last year.
Right.
Is he a
bump? Like, why are we making it seem like it's just, oh, well, just go win the Super Bowl? Cool. If it was that easy, we would have been on quest to 7 or quest for 7. Like, what? Why are we talking about this as a point? Like, it makes no sense at this point, man. Please.
Sean said, Brad, please check Avante's
blood. But what's going on, man? Look. You can have opinions. You can have your opinions. That's fine. And I'm good with that. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But stop saying things that are wild. 31 teams don't get to win a Super Bowl. There's a reason that one team gets to win a Super Bowl. One. And you guys are acting like it's easy. The Rams just won a Super Bowl, and you could make the case that if 1 or 2 things break the other way, they wouldn't even not only not been in that game, the NFC Championship game, not even been in the Super Bowl, right? They nearly lost to the Bucs, and this and that happens. There's so many small things that go into winning a Super Bowl, and you guys are just acting like, well, they've got the best roster, best coach, best quarterback. They've got to win it. That rarely happens. And I'm just tired of people just saying, well, now let's just go win the Super Bowl. Cool. If it's that easy, turn on Madden and win the Super Bowl. That's not how this works. Bro. What is wrong with y'all?
Let's go. We got Spicy Aponte in the building. Drop your freaking jalapeno peppers in the chat. Get those spicy emojis going. We got lit Jason in the chat. You freaking love to see it. And my guy spits facts. It's the most beautiful thing in the world when we get Jason a little spicy, because he's spicy, but all he does is spit facts while he's we get the New York Jason come out. I freaking love it, man. Scott Hill says, "Hey, Brad and Jason, do you think our defense can handle everybody in the NFC?" And it's a great transition into, I think, what one of the real stars of the game against the Seattle Seahawks. Again, we've spoken a lot about the quarterback. We understand what it is. It's what people want to talk about, what they want to hear. But we need to hear more about this defense. This defense, I got through the film last night. Holy crap, man. Like, they're freaking good. And it doesn't even look like they're at 100% yet. Like, we know Jimmy Ward's not there. Who knows what Jason Verrett's going to bring to the table? And who knows how they're going to continue to build continuity within their own scheme. This defense looks on point. Do you think they could go far in the NFC?
Yes, clearly, man. Look, Drake Jackson hasn't even reached his final form. Jimmy Ward hasn't even stepped on the field yet. Deshaun Gibson has done a bang-up job. Talanoa Hufanga is incredible. Dre Greenlaw had a very good game, and then that was lost in the shuffle. There was so many good things that happened in this game that were lost in the shuffle. Mm-hmm. Literally an about face from week one penalty on the 49ers, and you could argue that penalty was ridiculous, and it didn't even make sense, right? This defense is absolutely primed to take down anyone at this point, and they still haven't even ramped up to their final form yet. Wait till Jimmy Ward comes back. Jason Verrett might be on the way soon. I mean, like, that's just playing with house money at this point. I think we all expected this defense to be what it is. Again, let's be fair. Chicago in a monsoon. Seattle is terrible. I mean, they literally, their red zone offense was 4 running backs in a wildcat setting with Geno Smith spit out wide, and then you want to throw a pass with DJ Dallas. Okay, so Seattle stinks. Right?
It was terrible. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Seattle stinks, but at the same time,
Pete Carroll's losing it, man.
Yeah, no, it's done. Pete Carroll's on his way out, man. Take those Monarchs and just throw them up on the electrical cords. But at the same time, this defense is exactly what we thought it was going to be.
Hey, I seen those Monarchs in person. Those things were shining, man. Those things were.
Hey, man, look, I'm getting old, man. Those Monarchs might have to come out. I might have to get me an apron and a grill and a spatula. No, but yeah, this defense is exactly what you thought it was going to be. So yeah, I mean, my goodness, man, this team hasn't even really reached its peak yet, and they're going to get tested this Sunday, and they're going to get tested the week after with the Rams. But this defense is exactly what you thought it was. I still think that there's still another gear. Eric Armstead still hasn't really looked like he's fully into shape. Like, he's made some good plays. I think he's still working his way back. Javon Kinlaw's on his way back. Charles Omenihu had an amazing game in this game, and nobody wants to talk about it. And Kevin Givens had an amazing game. So again, it gets lost in the shuffle because everybody wants to focus on the quarterbacks, which is fair. But at the same time, this is the defense that we thought it was going to be. And this is the defense that can take down anybody in the NFC when it's right. The only things that travel in the playoffs and cold weather and on away games is defense, running game. If the 49ers can get that running game rolling the way that we kind of saw, ooh, Lord, it's game time for a lot of people. And that's what I'm saying is, you want to get upset about the quarterback, that's fine. But when you look down at the NFC, when you look at the way the 49ers are built, they are ready to go right now. So this is a time where most teams would pack it up, go home, say, listen, it's time to go. We're moving on to next year. The 49ers are not that team. And that's why, agree with it, disagree with it. I wanted Jimmy Garoppolo cut early on just so we can move on and you can move on with Trey. But you know what? That's why I'm a moron, and that's why they're smart, and that's why they did what they did, and now look where we are. That's it. That's it.
Absolutely. And I think, under most circumstances, if the 49ers didn't have this defense, I think the conversation, even with Jimmy, would be a lot different. But that's the main reason, I think, at least I can only speak for myself, when I talk about the San Francisco 49ers being a potential Super Bowl team, it's the freaking defense. It is all 3 levels: defensive line, linebackers, and defensive backs. You have Talanoa Hufanga playing like I don't even freaking know, man. I had high hopes for Talanoa this year. He's playing far beyond my expectations.
Own PFF. Own PFF. Own them. Own them.
How you like that now, bozos?
Yeah, go talk about it for people that don't know real quick, because I was thinking about you when it happened.
Oh, it was hilarious. If you don't know, I put out, we moved the timeline and we figured out how to do it. And so we'll put out certain posts. And the particular post I put out was like, hey, I think Talanoa Hufanga is going to have a good year. Like, nothing crazy, just seeing how it worked. It did numbers. PFF decided to do a whole podcast segment on the particular tweet. One dude basically called me a bozo for putting the tweet out. But hey, Talanoa Hufanga to the moon right now, baby. And looks like we're going to get the last laugh on that one.
Own those nerds who don't know anything about scheme or football or anything like that. PFF, I'm sorry if you're listening. Please hire me, and I promise you I'll do a good job for y'all.
put Spicy Aponte on a podcast. He'll do a great job, I promise. But again, Talanoa Hufanga is one of the guys. You mentioned Charles Omenihu. I'm really excited for Charles Omenihu. Again, a lot of people didn't hear or feel Charles Omenihu because it didn't show up on the stat sheet. I counted, I think, 3 to 4 reps where he won right off the bat in pass rushing situations with a hand swipe over the guard. That is going to translate to every other offensive line unit in the league because he's got that first step quickness, he has the length, and he times up the hand swipe beautifully. And when you get swiped by one of these defensive linemen and you can adjust the shoulders of an O lineman, they get the leverage and get by him. Charles Omenihu is doing work, man. So this defense, as we continue to move forward, Dean 49X says this defense saves us from being mid.
Don't listen to him, man. He's just trying to get a reaction out of me, man. Like, no, Dean's the man. Don't. He's definitely joking. That's why he's got all those laughing emojis on there as well too. The chat is lit, man. The chat is lit right now, man. Appreciate all y'all guys for tapping in, man. Make sure you guys like this video on both channels, subscribe to the channels, hit that notification bell. But yeah, Dean's trolling, man. I'm tired of you, Dean, and I'm gonna tell you on Twitter about it too as well.
Absolutely. So, all things considered, again, the win was dampened by the loss of Trey Lance. But if we take a step back and we don't look too far into the future, we don't look back into the past, we focus on right now and the next game against Denver, the San Francisco 49ers are in really good shape, all things considered. Yes. So that's the positive. That's the silver lining. Yes, there are things that we are hurting about from that game, but the bottom line is I don't believe the Super Bowl window closes. I don't believe the chance for the 49ers to win, like you said, the NFC West closes. This defense, special teams, shout out Mitch Wish, shout out Robbie Gould, redemption arc coming, maybe.
All right. Fine, Mitch Wishnowski, fine. Okay, you held that punt up long enough for it to get caught up in Tyler Lockett's face, and it ended up in a fumble. Thank you.
This is rare, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Rare. We got Jason Aponte positive comment about Mitch Wishnowski. Burn it down.
Thank you.
We're seeing a huge redemption arc here. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
I love to see it.
I appreciate you, man. And I look again in all facets. Again, last year this team went through a bunch of turmoil, right? And Jimmy Garoppolo even alluded to saying, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy in terms of the quarterback, stuff like that. It's 3-5. A lot of people, including myself, packed it in after the Arizona game. And this team was able to come out of it. That's not by coincidence. That's by roster and that's by coaching. So that's what the two things that you have to fall back on. D'Amico is going to do his thing. And so is Kyle. And now that there is no sort of quarterback controversy or anybody that you can go to aside from Jimmy Garoppolo, now just let it rip. Let it rip, man. And can we talk about Jimmy Garoppolo's best throw as a 49er not being completed ever? So Jimmy Garoppolo, for everybody, what they want to say about throwing outside the numbers, he put that ball right in where it was supposed to be for Brandon Ayuk, outside the numbers. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. Look, I'm going to look dead in the camera. That's Jimmy Garoppolo's best throw as a 49er. But it will not go down in the ledger that way because it was an incompletion. But if Jimmy can do that just a little bit more, do exactly what he's doing, being efficient and all those things, the 49ers are going to be a very tough out. And that's it. And I think that's really what I wanted to talk to you about because people are saying, I saw some people when I posted the play, the All-22, it was a bad throw. He's supposed to throw it to the pylon. Sounds to me like you don't really know anything about quarterback play or where it should go. He literally threw it only where his guy could get it, and Ayuk just didn't bring it in. I think Ayuk would tell you I should have brought that in. But it's good to see Jimmy back out there, man, and it's good to know what to expect at least one way or another, right? For better or worse, we know what to expect, and I think that's something that's valuable, man. Again. The Jets don't know what they were getting when Joe Flacco started. They just happened to win a game. If Pat Mahomes went down, I don't even know who the hell their backup quarterback is. If Justin Herbert went down, here it is. Show it.
On cue.
Here it is.
Beautiful throw.
To the left. Look.
Beautiful
Boom.
throw.
Beautiful
right
throw.
in the breadbasket. Come on, Ayuk.
Come on, Brandon.
Come on, my boy.
Brandon, deep ball me. There it is. Deep ball me. There it is. There it is. Look at this. Look at this.
Deep ball from
Look at this.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Look at this.
He put it right there.
Look.
Come on, my boy.
Look, I think what makes this more impressive also is with no reps, with no sort of like time with the first team offense, like Jimmy just slid right back in there. Look at that. Look at this. Come on, Brandon Ayuk. Bring it in.
Help your guy out, man.
Oh, man.
You get your hands on it. You got to bring it in. You know the rules.
Come on, man. That was beautiful.
Them's the rules. Nothing changes. You're a wide receiver. Your hands touch the football. You bring that football in.
That was beautiful. And like what Dean's saying, that's 2017, Jimmy. And Jimmy alluded to that in the press conference. So okay, if you want me to criticize,
I think it's a valid ass point.
Right. If you want me to criticize Kyle, here it is.
Yes, go. I know what you're going to say. Go off, King.
In 2017, when Jimmy was there, he played free and easy. Why? Because Kyle didn't shove his entire playbook down Jimmy's throat right then. What he said was, what are you comfortable running with the Patriots? I'm going to give you that. Go out there and hoop. Okay.
It was a partnership in 2017 because it had to be a partnership.
Yes.
Then it turned into like a dictatorship.
Exactly.
And Jimmy wasn't executing it, and then Kyle went down his throat because he wasn't executing.
Exactly, man. And for Jimmy to bring that up in the press conference, I thought that was very telling to say it felt like 2017 when I just went out there and let it rip. So look, there's structure. And then there's sometimes you're overbearing. Like sometimes he tells Jimmy, you have to throw it to this guy, bang it on him right here. But if that's not there, don't make him force that in there sometimes. Look, Jimmy's not going to make the best decisions. I'm going to give you that. But at the same time, sometimes maybe that backyard ball is a little bit better. Like, and that's it. Like at this point, it feels like he's being micromanaged. So look, if Jimmy gets back to at least a little bit of the 2017 form, the 49ers really have something. Like if he can step it up just like this much, like not even like this much, now the league is in trouble. Now you're talking about like teams that don't want to play the 49ers at all, because if Jimmy can just make one or two more plays, make more plays down the field, this team becomes practically unbeatable unless they beat themselves. That's it.
100%. I agree. Take the foot off the pedal a little bit, Kyle. I agree. If I had to throw, we are normally going to try to be rational when it comes to criticism for anyone on the team. But, Kyle isn't free of criticism. And I think that's one of the things that we can look at. I think Steve Young said it the best. He was on ESPN. I think he was talking with RG3. He's like, Kyle is the one who fired Jimmy. Kyle fired Jimmy from this team.
He did.
Those two need to get together and they need to figure out how to make this work, because there's no other choice. This is your guy right now for the rest of the year. Figure it out, make it work. There's no other option. So that's why they went to get Trey. Kyle was done with Jimmy. And I think for a lot of the things that we talked about. So we're going to see how it continues to progress. Hopefully both are more mature, and let's face it, calloused from the situation, because at the end of the day, they need to realize we got to put our egos to the side and we got to win a freaking Super Bowl here. That's the ultimate goal.
Right. And this isn't, oh, well, now y'all are just like kissing Jimmy's ass. He's the quarterback now at this point. The only thing that content creators like myself, Brad, and many other people can do at this point is just critique what's going on the field, and that's it. There's no discussion about anything other than that. And I think that that's a fair criticism. And I think that, again, him being here is something that we are very lucky to have, because the season would be shot completely if Nate Sudfeld was still here and he had to start, or if Brock Purdy was the person he had to start. So again, guys, look, ask yourself this question. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself this question. I talk to myself in the mirror all the time. That's why I'm a little bit better on camera. Like I'm able to like practice a little bit more.
That
like
the secret is that's why
a little bit. You gotta practice. You gotta practice. You gotta practice. You gotta practice. You get in front of the camera. You talk. You look at yourself. You critique yourself. Say, listen, take that out. Take this out. Take that out. Look yourself in the mirror, 49ers fans. What do you want? What is your ultimate goal? And what will you be able to put up with? And if Jimmy Garoppolo wins the Super Bowl, I don't give a shit. I am sorry, man. I really don't. But again, right now, this is where the team is. And this is where all you can do is just now critique the team going forward, because there is no quarterback controversy. There is nobody that is going to be behind him. That's it. That is it right now at this point. So right now, this team is in good hands right now with Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't care who disagrees with that. And if you disagree with that, it's because you just hate the guy. And there is, again, I'm going to say it one more time. He's not as good as many people make him seem, but he's not as bad as anybody makes him seem. There's somewhere in the middle where Jimmy Garoppolo is. Yes. And what's wrong with that? That's it. I'm done. I'm sorry.
He wins games, Jason, which ultimately is all that matters.
Dean said, all right, Mirror, I want to be Jason upon it. No, you don't, Dean. No, you don't, man. You really don't. I would rather be Dean. Dean's sneaker game is much better, and he's got a way better job than I do, man. All I do is take a bunch of hits for talking about the 49ers, man. I would rather absolutely
just taking strays all day.
That's it, man. Yeah.
That's funny, man. Let's talk about this aspect. Shout out 49ers throwback for the setup. Says, hey, Brad and Jason, that O-line has gotten better.
You talk. You spit now.
I'll start and then I'll pass it to you. I've been pleasantly pleased with the 49ers offensive line. Obviously, week 1 wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst. And that was the big takeaway that got lost in the minutia of 49ers talk on Twitter or social media is, there wasn't great things, but there also wasn't absolutely terrible things. You could see things that they could identify and improve on. And guess what, Jason? They did just that. Aaron Banks got roasted for his ability to get to the second level. And let's be honest, he had trouble getting to the second level, but I could see why he was having trouble getting to the second level. He just wasn't under control. One of the first runs that we get, a huge run, you see Aaron Banks come out under control, gets to the second level. Beautiful. Aaron Banks was in his bag. Now, he wasn't perfect, but he was so much more improved, and really you're seeing this offensive line really come together. Burford on the other side, both these guys get their second career starts. You're still seeing the improvement. Are they both perfect right now? Not even close. Both still have errors. Both have learning and teaching moments that you can find on tape if you go and look for it. But when you evaluate offensive line, it's body of work. You can't singular one bad play and say, this is who this player is. That's how you get in trouble. You got to be able to look at the entire body of work, all 40 plays, stack them together and say 3 was bad, 17 was bad, and you got your ass whooped on 32. Figure out how to fix those ones and close the gap in between the issues. And that's what they are doing. Mike McGlinchey played a clean game. I would say the guy who played the least clean game was Jake Brendel.
Yes.
Jake Brendel showed multiple mental miscues, which was kind of jarring because what I'd seen from him in preseason and week 1 was that he was always putting himself in the right spot. He might not win every rep, but he'd put himself in the right spot. We saw him take incorrect angles. We saw him take wrong steps to the left when they're supposed to take steps to the right. We had the butt fumble situation. So Brendel was, a bit questionable, but I would say, but he did okay for the most part. But again, it's being able to identify those plays. And Averly going, wow, she's hyped.
You heard her right? Yeah, she's hooping, man. Oh my goodness.
No. But I think the offensive line looked a whole lot better. Really, the offensive line looked a whole lot better in that game, and I think it's going to be the trend as we continue to move forward, is they're only going to improve as a unit. And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be toting the rock behind them, because obviously Elijah Mitchell's down, now TDP's down with the MCL. They signed Marlon Mack to the active. They bring back our good old friend Tevin Coleman to the practice squad, but that offense is still going to be predicated on the run game, and it starts up front in the trenches. And so we're going to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I mean, Tevin Coleman's back for the revenge of the Revenge Tour 3. So yeah, he's back. But no, look, would you look at that? Trent Williams is back to his normal self when it's not a monsoon. Would you look at that? Rookies develop with more reps. Would you look at that? I don't want to go too far into definitives right now in week 2. But and again, remember who they're facing. Look, Al Woods is a good ball player. And
He
and
is.
so is and so is
He's very stout and
and and
strong.
and so is Boye Mafe. I mean, we got a good look at him at the Senior Bowl, and they've
Puna
got some.
Ford isn't a slouch either.
And Nwosu is good. Like they've got guys up there,
Nwosu's a
right?
good
Yeah.
edge. Yeah.
They've got guys, and they were relatively clean. Like and again, we talked about this all preseason. When people had concerns, it's fair to have concerns, but you have to start to see this unit together over and over and over, week after week after week after week. So now it's 2 weeks of this now. You're starting to feel a little bit better. And I agree with you. The weak link right now looks like Jake Brendel right now at this point, which is probably a bigger concern than people want to describe because, yeah, the 49ers won 27-7. Yeah, Seattle stinks. Who cares? But center matters in this
It's when
offense.
Aaron Donald shows up
Right,
on
exactly.
Monday Night Football.
Exactly. Center matters. And if you notice, when the 49ers had Weston Richburg, the offense was rolling. Credit Ben Garland. He did as best he could. Hornets Grossu gets a bunch of those reps, and so does Brunskill. I mean, like that's not going to be good. Alex Mack is in there. Now look at the offensive line. So center is really the glue to all of this. The center is really the glue to all this. So
you need the bookends and you need the center. Guards you can work with, but it's kind of it's like we're feeling good about the guards and tackles. It's like the center that we need a little bit more continuity from.
That's it. And look, again, keep it going. Again, you get another game, but now Bradley Chubb's in front of you. Like now you've got this Denver defense, DJ Jones. Look, we get DJ Jones now again, and DJ Jones knows what to do, man. Like I'm not gonna play around with him. There's a bunch of revenge games on the plate.
He knows Brendel very well. Guess who was getting that work all season in scout team against DJ Jones? It was Brendel, so he's gonna know Brendel like the back of his hand, and so the rest of this offensive line for the most part.
Right. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out real fast. But you have to be encouraged. Again, you can't write the story in week 1, and you can't write the story in week 2. But you have to gather as much information as you can. And right now, what they did this week against some very good players that I mentioned, Al Woods, Nwosu, Boye Mafe, those are ballers. Those are good football players. They did well. Now, continue it. And now, also, the one thing is the style of the way that you're pass blocking. For one guy, you have to pass block a little bit more because he might be able to make things move. Now, with Jimmy, the ball's going to be out fast, right? So you've got to be able to hold your block for just real quick and don't get beat, right? So that's the sort of stuff that they're going to work on. But again, we weren't going to know what this offensive line was until they took rep after rep after rep, week after week. And now we're at week 2. And look, they look much better when they're not playing in a swimming pool. So look, again, everybody was quick to immediately run to, well, week 1, Trey's bad. This offensive line's bad. The defense isn't as good as we thought it was. Kyle can't coach. Play call is bad. And now here we are. Now look at like how quickly week to week league, and here we are, right? Like in the same breath that I had concerns about the way the 49ers will come out in week 1, it's long documented that Kyle Shanahan teams come out undisciplined. They penalize themselves. They don't play sharp. Week 2 is the literal about face. And now there are years of week 1 being, oh, well, they didn't come out this good. Week 2, sharp as attack, man. And that's exactly, again, the one penalty they had in this game was highly questionable at this point. So, yeah, like at this point, the 49ers now are rolling in a direction where they start to become that dreaded team if they continue this at the end of the season. When you get to the playoffs, I don't want to face that team. Remember last year when they're rolling, they win, they get in, and everybody's like, shit. Now we got to deal with these guys. They go into that.
All the teams in the playoffs, the 49ers had one of the lowest chances to get to the Super Bowl out of any team, and they were that close from getting there.
Right. And now that is the team that's in front of you again, right? With less competition, I would argue, this year. Based on 2 weeks. Again, I just told you not to make sweeping statements, and here I am writing off the Rams and the Cardinals and everybody else. But, look, Dallas is injured. Are the Giants going to continue to win every single game? No. The Vikings just got embarrassed. Like whatever. The Packers are the Packers. Whatever. At this point, you have to, while there is things that you should feel bad about, you have to feel good about where this team is right now and where they're going. That's it, man. Like
absolutely.
I don't know who else. I don't know what other fan base could have it as lucky as the 49ers at this point. When it comes to, unfortunately, Trey Lance went down. It's a disgusting thing. We hate it. But now you get to pivot to this guy who is familiar with the offense. It's like literally slides in and literally talked about like riding a bike. Like what are we talking about here? Like, this is a team that is going to be that team that when you get to the playoffs, you say, I don't want to play them because defense travels and so does the run game.
Absolutely. And heading into this Sunday Night Football's matchup against Denver, how do you think they're feeling about having to face the San Francisco 49ers? Because we saw them lose to the freaking Seattle Seahawks, who the 49ers just mopped up in the home opener. But when we looked at the way Denver lost in that opening week, they killed themselves. That's how they lost. It was kind of similar to how the 49ers lost to the Bears. They just hurt themselves over and over again.
Oh, sorry, that happy sleepy comment. Are we still allowed to say who's got it better than us? I don't think we're allowed to say that anymore, unfortunately.
I know. I don't think we are. I haven't said it in a long time. As someone who does a lot of content, is looking for a lot of captions.
Can we scrap Quest for 6 as well too? Avery, come here. Come here. Look, she's here. She's ready to give some fire. Yeah, look, Avery. What do you want? Do you want a snack?
Yes.
Okay, she wants a snack. That's what he's doing. Yeah, you heard her.
We need Averly score predictions coming down the stretch as we get into producing more segments and getting her on here. She's got a bright future ahead of her. But let's look at this game with the Denver Broncos. I mean, do you think Denver has an opportunity here to shake things up, get back on track? Because I didn't watch the game against the Texans. I heard it was rough. I've heard some things. I haven't seen it. But it sounds like Denver's kind of been a rough patch with their new head coach and their new quarterback.
All right. Being positive this entire time, trying to be the good guy, with everybody, trying to look at everything as positive. I almost can guarantee that the Denver Broncos are going to play probably their best game of the season this week against the 49ers. Look, Seattle doesn't have Russ anymore. You don't have to worry.
Russell.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about Seattle anymore because Russ isn't there. But Russ is there with Denver, and you kind of just have to expect it at this point.
That's a good point.
Having said that, Jerry Jeudy's injured. Patrick Surtain's injured. Day to day, let's see if they play. If they don't, Patrick Surtain is a baller. That is absolutely good news. K1 Williams revenge game, DJ Jones revenge game, Tom Compton revenge game,
Jonas Griffith revenge game.
A lot of revenge games out here. But at the same time, the 49ers win this game 27-24. It's going to go down to the wire. The 49ers do win this game, but I do expect Denver to get back rolling a little bit more. And I don't suspect that this team can continue to play this bad. And regardless of what Nathaniel Hackett has cooking, and regardless of how bad, Russ looked terrible last week. Terrible.
Did he?
Right. Yes, terrible. Like there was a little point in that game where he was like 5 for 20. And if that would have,
and they still won the game,
they won.
And that bad?
It's the Texans. But yes, Russ looked terrible in that game. Courtland Sutton had a baller ass game. But yeah, I expect them to at least show signs of life on Sunday Night Football in front of their home crowd with the lights on. Russell Wilson against the 49ers. It's almost like you got to expect it. I would be shocked, and I would love to be wrong. I would be shocked if Denver just went out there and threw up a dud and the 49ers just rolled them. I would love for that to happen. But it's Russell Wilson. I've got the 49ers 27-24, and I do think that Russ somewhat gets it going. And this is the last time we're going to have to deal with him. This is it. So don't underestimate that portion of it.
And I think that's a good point. We also have to keep in mind, you got a new quarterback, you got a new coaching staff. It's going to take some time for them to gel, just like the things that we've preached with the offensive line, with Trey Lance. It just takes time for things to gel, especially in the NFL. There's so many moving pieces. So you got to give them some time to operate. So I wouldn't be shocked either. I'm not going to put it past. I'm not going to look at this matchup against Denver and be like, oh, it's going to be a walk in the park. The 49ers are just going to kick Russ out the club and it's going to be nothing. We understand. Russ, I think, is still a good quarterback. They're just dealing with some early adversity in the season. We've seen other teams in history's past deal with early adversity. They look cooked. Oh, they're done. No way. And it just starts to gel and it starts to click and they get into a rhythm. Everything changes. So it's a week-to-week league. You talked about it earlier. It's exactly what it is. So they still have a lot of good talent on that team.
They do. And Vlad the Impaler says Russ practices shadow plays more than actual plays. Dude gives some odd vibes. He even practices handshakes. Look,
he's coming out the tunnel, just
I don't want.
slapping
I look
ghosts of
Russell.
Christmas past.
Russell Wilson, the person, is very cringe, but he's still a good football player in my estimation.
Mr. Unlimited
Oh my goodness,
has
I
been
love it.
seeming limited, but we'll see if that
I love it.
continues.
I
I
love it,
don't
man.
know. Again, he's still there's something in there that's going to make him a good quarterback. We'll see if it comes to fruition against the 49ers. That vaunted pass rush and again the defense in general. So it's a tough task, but again, 49ers are on the road. They'll be in Denver, and we will see how it all
Yo,
continues
the
to go.
chat is lit. Yo, let's play shadow football.
Bro, the chat's been on fire
No,
today.
it has, man. And shout out to you guys, man. No matter what, we disagree. It's all opinions. It's all football. It's all love. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. I appreciate you guys all the time. But yeah,
Absolutely.
man, this is a lot of fun. This stream was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, this was a good stream, especially after considering the situation, right? It could have been a real doom and gloom stream,
For sure.
but hey, man, the 49ers are still in good shape, regardless of what we think. Again, we're not going to look too far into the future. We're not going to look too far into the past. We're looking next week to Denver, and next week to Denver, the San Francisco 49ers are in good shape. So they just got to go out, perform, play their game, and do what they got to do. And we know what the outcome could be, right? So any last words, anything to plug before we get out of here for the day?
No, look, guys, stop killing each other. Jimmy's the only option. That's it. I don't want to hear any more discussion about it. That's it. Like, Brock Purdy's not walking through that door to save this team. So just rally around the guy. And if you want to win games, this is who you're going to win the games with. Shout out to anybody that plays fantasy football, anything like that, fantasy sports. Sign up for Underdog Sports. Use promo code APONTE to double your first deposit up to $100. Let's make some higher, lower reads. Honestly, man, I've been cooking with my higher and lower picks, man. I did really well on Monday Night Football. Did really well the week after. I missed on one pick, but fantasy Underdog offers pick'em insurance. So if you hit on 4 of the 5, shout out to Lester San Jose. Appreciate you becoming a member, man. If you hit on 4 of the 5, you still cash out your money. So sign up for Underdog Fantasy, promo code APONTE. And yeah, man. Big up to Brad, man. He's cooking out here. He's on the TV, man. He's doing it all, man. Like, he's going to games and then he does the post game in the stadium. Like, look at you, man. Happy for you, bro. And couldn't ask for more from a better friend than you.
Bro, I appreciate it. You know I don't take compliments well, but I will take them anytime from you, Jason. And you already know you're vibing as well. The whole squad is moving on up. And again, also got to shout out the chat because you guys, like we talked about, were absolutely on point. And honestly, kind of kept the vibes up for this show too. And we got a lot of spicy Aponte, Hollywood Brad, and Jalapeno Jason.
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Look. It's gotten to a point where, post game rant. Okay, cool. Y'all got me. But I was talking to a specific group. But at this point right now, kind of tired of the discourse that, we're kind of just talking in circles at this point. It's want to discuss Jimmy Garoppolo and you want to talk about things that we've known for years and years about him instead of saying, well, you know what? The defense played really well. Well, you know what? The offensive line looked really well. You know what? That was a really dominant performance against an inferior opponent. And, look what the 49ers do when they don't penalize themselves and they only have 1 penalty per game. They are going to be a tough out for any single team. And if you don't believe me, this is what happens when you look at the schedule and the schedule comes out. And this is why you can't just be like win, loss, win, like, whatever. That's fine.
Dangerous game.
Right. But now look, week 3, you're looking at Denver and you're like, oh man, I don't know about that. And now look at how 49er fans feel right now going into that game based on how they played, based on how the 49ers have played, based on Jimmy Garoppolo being there. Now, that's why you don't overanalyze the schedule and you have to go week to week. That's what makes this league so fun. And that's what keeps the content flowing, man. Shout out to the 49ers for always providing us the content. It's never a dull moment out here.
Bro, the content has been on fire. And you already know my man Jason and me as well are going to continue to bring it to you as best we can in as many creative ways as we can imaginably.
Get
right
to
on
it.
cue.
There it is.
Watching Russ run around like a youngin'. I'll be pissed.
See, and you know what? And if you watch the press conference today, Kyle said, sure, they haven't played well. He goes, but it's still Russell Wilson. All of a sudden, you keep him down for 3 quarters, and in the 4th quarter, he does. Like, he literally echoed those sentiments. So, yeah, like, it's something
he's going to see that 49ers logos. He's going to get flashbacks to all those games. Again, the Seattle Seahawks had no business sweeping the 49ers last year. And guess who did that? Guess who helped single-handedly execute that? Mr. Frickin' Russ. No matter how cringe he is off the field, he makes us cringe when he's on the field as well.
And that's the thing. You weren't afraid of the Seattle Seahawks. You were afraid of Russell Wilson.
Yes. Facts. Because he knows how to extend. That's what you were afraid of. Every third down, every third and long, it didn't matter. You're just like, oh, God. You could feel it. You're like, he's just going to bounce out of the pocket. He's going to keep his eyes downfield, and he's going to hit a 40-yard bomb down the freaking sideline because they blew coverage and lost the guy in space. And you're just like, oh, my, here we go again. Like, my God. So we all have enough Russ PTSD. So just remember that, as we go into this week. Hey, man, our energy, the 49er fan team, they feel our energy. So just keep that confident energy going in, but not cocky energy, because it's going to be a matchup. It's going to be a game any given Sunday. Anything can happen. But again, as always, appreciate everyone for tapping into our Wednesday State of the Franchise episode. I'm Brad Graham, and that is the Jason Aponte. Make sure you follow both of us. You can see where to get more of our content below. And I think that's it for the day, Jason.
Let's
we
go
outie?
Niners? Yeah, let's go Niners. I gotta go pick up my wife. Otherwise, I'm not gonna have a place to stream or live anywhere or whatever. So let me get up out of here.
And on that, we're out. Appreciate you guys. Peace. Next week, we'll see you. State of the Franchise every Wednesday. We out of here. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to